It's just the right thing to do, and the fact that we're able to help do it is, it is the honor of a lifetime.
A DNA lab in Utah is now analyzing the human remains found at Tulsa's Oaklawn Cemetery in the search for possible victims of the Tulsa Race Massacre.
More than 100 years later, science may soon provide some answers to the secrets underground. Amy Slanchik has this Oklahoma's own original report.
It was historic when in the summer of 2020, dirt was lifted for the first time since the 1921 Tulsa Race Massacre in the search for victims. Now, the next historic chapter is beginning as human remains from unmarked graves found at Oaklawn Cemetery are studied by scientists in a DNA lab.
Now it's going to feel like it's underway because something actionable for the community is coming out now.
Getting the remains from Tulsa to the DNA lab meant a 1,200-mile trip by FedEx to Salt Lake City, Utah. Nestled among the Wasatch Mountains and about 20 minutes away from the city's downtown area sits a modest lab called Intermountain Forensics. Their job is to compare DNA from teeth and bones found at Oaklawn to people who submit their DNA, with a goal of determining whether or not the remains at Oaklawn belong to massacre victims. The lab says a descendant of a victim or survivor, or even someone who's just curious if they're a match, can submit their DNA.
I'm very confident that if it can be done, that our lab can do it.
Growing up not far from Tulsa, Kara Porter credits her parents for teaching her about the massacre. She's the CEO of Intermountain Forensics and a civil rights attorney.
And this, of course, was the ultimate civil rights violation. And now we have a chance to help on that. It's hard to articulate how meaningful this is to me.
Porter says she's poured her life savings into the lab. What looks like a copier that belongs in an office is a pricey machine called the NovaSeq 6000. During our visit, it was sequencing DNA from the remains found at Oaklawn. This machine, combined with the fact that the lab is a nonprofit, is what sets it apart from others.
I'm told this $1 million machine is often used in the medical community for things like cancer screenings, but it's only found in a handful of forensic DNA labs across the country, and it's here at Intermountain Forensics.
It's really unique, it's really expensive, but it's extraordinarily powerful, and it's the only way this works.
Danny Helwig is the director of lab development. He says aside from the equipment, the lab needs people to get involved.
There's just nothing you can do if there isn't some little piece of DNA in some genealogy tree that doesn't match up.
Intermountain Forensics says people do not have to submit DNA to benefit the work. Allison Wild is a forensic investigative genetic genealogist.
The word has definitely spread.
She's busy collecting pictures, family trees, and information from people across the country. Some want to share their DNA. Others just want to share their personal history.
Even if it's like, oh, my grandmother's brother moved to Tulsa as part of the oil boom. He was there during the 1920s. Nobody's ever heard from him again. There's a lot of stories like that. If you want your DNA compared.
Intermountain Forensics says people can be as private or as open as they want throughout the process.
I mean, I've actually sued the state of Utah once for misusing people's DNA. So I'm a believer in this. As a civil rights lawyer, I'm a big believer in privacy.
If any matches are made when DNA is compared, families could soon learn some answers about their past.
As exciting and rewarding as it will feel to give information and to bring some names to light, it will reopen and take that family right back to 1921.
Helwig says patience is key. He points to September 11th as an example of how long it can take to find DNA matches.
A year ago, I was at a forensic DNA conference, and we were still speaking about 9/11 and identifying remains from the Trade Center.
While everyone waits, history is unfolding as science works to uncover the secrets of who is underground.
Whether they're race massacre victims or not, they deserve to have their name returned to them. Their family deserves to know who they are.
In Salt Lake City, Amy Slanchik, Oklahoma's own, News on 6.